I've done it with a girl. I've done it with a girl, intercourse-wise. So if you're looking for...
Daniel!
Here's my mum.
What you doing?
And she was trying to have it off with me.
Oh, well, of course she was. You're bloody gorgeous. Come on.
Podcastius. That's funny. I was going to open the show by saying, the weirdest thing happened to me last night. This owl was hanging outside of my window, and it just wouldn't go away.
Yeah, I like Podcastius.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny. What does that mean in wizard speak?
Start the podcast.
Oh, okay. This was an episode we originally had planned to do back in November of last year, and as with all things on the show, we are horribly, grossly behind schedule.
Yeah, fuck it.
Here we are, we're finally doing a Harry Potter episode, which is an episode that nobody has requested or asked for. It was something...
Are any of our episodes anything that anyone's ever requested
and
asked
no,
for?
a few, yeah. This was an episode that at some point you had just decided we were going to do. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to sit down and watch all the Harry Potter movies. No, man, we're doing a Harry Potter episode someday. Okay. Well, I guess that day has finally come.
Well, guess who was right?
Your persistence wore me out in the end.
That's right. My ass is the blackest.
Pretty sure that's racist. So were you swept up in Harry Potter mania when the pop culture phenomenon began?
You know, I don't know that I was ever swept up into it or anything. I liked the movies, but I never really cared enough to read the books.
I was a slow convert to Harry Potter. I think the fourth book was about to come out when my mom ordered the first three from the science fiction book club, ran through those first three books very quickly. I ate them right up, and then the fourth book came out, and I read that immediately. There was a 2 or 3 year hiatus between the fourth and fifth book, and in that time period, I got out of it. My passion cooled very quickly. I've never gotten around to reading the last 3 books. I've got them up there, but I've never read them because they're really long. They are really long, you dude.
Yeah, they are hella big.
They are hella big. I haven't read those first 4 books in probably 15 years, and I have no intention to talk about the books tonight. I know the Harry Potter fan base is very, let's say, passionate. Mostly tonight we are talking about the movies.
Dear Mr. Potter, you have been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Soon, you and your schoolmates will join us here, and your education in the magical arts shall begin.
Let's travel back to a slightly more innocent time. November of 2001, when Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone came out. For all you limeys out there, it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Right.
There's lost all of our British listeners.
It makes more sense to be called the Philosopher's Stone.
The Philosopher's Stone is this classical MacGuffin in fantasy fiction. And what the fuck is a Sorcerer's Stone? Stone that a sorcerer has. Apparently, the American publishers of the books didn't think that American kids would know what a philosopher was.
We totally know what a sorcerer is.
Dumbass decision. Let's just agree to that. Hey, that first movie. What do you think of the first Harry Potter movie?
It's way different than the last Harry Potter movie, that's for sure.
That is very true.
It was a well-paced movie. I really liked how it blended with the comedy and the horror and the mysticism.
The first one is probably my least favorite of the series.
Yeah, Chamber of Secrets, I think, might be my least favorite.
Really? I like Chamber of Secrets a lot, but we're not talking about that movie yet.
I was just telling you.
I have some grievances with the world that J.K. Rowling created. It does annoy me how separated the wizard world is from the non-magical world, that these two societies...
Don't even know they exist?
Yeah, they coexisted for hundreds of years. Never been any real interaction between them. It's still the secret somehow, even though there are non-magical people married to wizards. Every other female person I've ever talked to is obsessed with these books. I never wanted to go to Hogwarts. Everybody wants to go to Hogwarts. Why the fuck do you want to go to Hogwarts? How many people died at Hogwarts over the course of these 8 movies/7 books?
Okay, but how many people didn't die?
I prefer to go to a school where I'm not at threat of being eaten by a giant snake.
Yeah, but the idea of going to a school specifically for learning magic, that's cool.
Do wizards know how to do their taxes?
No, they just taxiarmus.
They just magic that shit.
Taxiarmus finito.
One thing I will say about this first movie is the production design is aces. Like
aces?
Yeah. It's aces.
Okay.
Don't make fun of the way I talk.
Aces in your faces.
The movies all look great. The set designs are awesome.
Special effects, for the most part, hold up.
Some of the special effects.
For the most part.
The CGI in this first movie. Let's talk about that troll.
Okay.
Or even Fluffy, the three-headed dog.
Now, you leave Fluffy out of this.
The CGI in this first movie has not aged well. I think we can agree on that. But the castle itself, Hogwarts, looks awesome. I love the Halloween sequence where the jack-o'-lanterns are floating above the dining
that's amazing.
area. All that stuff is really cool.
I like how they drink pumpkin juice.
Yeah, the staircases that move around on their own is neat. I like the ghost. All that stuff is fun. I do enjoy the general setting. This first movie feels too much like a kid's film.
That's how the books progress, though.
J.K. Rowling has always said she intended the reader to grow up with the series. Some of the stuff that happens when they're in the secret room, the whole sequence with the vines is terrible.
The killer keys.
The killer keys are cheesy. The Quidditch game in this first movie is not very effective.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like Harry's ever in danger. That's kind of a problem I have with some of these movies where it feels like everything comes a little too easily for Harry sometimes. Can we talk about the rules of Quidditch?
What are the rules of Quidditch? Refresh my memory.
Well, it's something like these guys trying to throw balls into the hoops, and there are people blocking them, and there's also these floating balls that attack. There's this whole thing of the golden snitch, or...
Snitch.
Snitch, yeah.
Snitch.
The golden snitch.
No snitch.
Snitch.
No snitch.
Am I saying it wrong?
Yeah, you're saying schnitz. It's snitch.
Snitch.
Yes, like snitches get stitches.
Okay. Oh, this thing is worth 100 gazillion points, right?
They automatically win the game.
Why bother doing anything else? Just focus on getting the snitch.
They explain it better in the movies.
What do we think of the cast?
I really like the cast in this movie.
Daniel Radcliffe looks exactly like Harry Potter looked in the books. It's amazing that they found this kid that just happens to look exactly like the character as described in the book. Going back and watching this first movie when they were really young kids, their acting skills were a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
Rupert Grint in this first movie gives the worst performance.
Harry! You know what annoys me about these first couple of movies?
What's that?
Is his name is never Harry. It's Harry.
Harry?
Harry Potter!
And we just lost all our other British listeners.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, it's a lovely holiday with Mary.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Get a shilling for a shoe shine? Or how about a smile, then?
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Oh, you turned into Dickensian ragamuffins all of a sudden. The kids in this first movie, they're fine, but they still have a while to go. The supporting cast for this film is uniformly excellent. It's true, because I wrote it down.
Oh, okay, well, if you wrote it down, it must be true.
Richard Harris as Dumbledore.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Seeing the progression of that character throughout the course of the series, and it sucks he died and all, but I'm kind of glad that they got the other guy.
Yeah, it is hard to imagine Richard Harris's Dumbledore doing some of the things the character does later in the series. I agree with you there. He is good.
No, he's a good actor. I'm not besmirching his acting name whatsoever.
Yeah. Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid is awesome.
Oh, well, yeah.
Perfect casting.
Yeah.
Maggie Smith as Professor McGonagall.
She's like what you would think of as your ideal witch, almost.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Like,
say ideal British person.
well, there's that, too. I love the spirit she brings to the character. She can be stern.
But she also has a humor, too.
Yeah. She has like a heartwarming humor to her.
Yeah, I like all that stuff. And then Alan Rickman as Professor Snape, I think, is everybody's favorite. Another issue I have with this first movie is Professor Snape is this obvious red herring throughout he's the mean teacher, so everybody suspects him of being the one behind this plot to murder Harry. And then when we find out who the real villain is...
Quivering Quirrell.
Yeah, the defense against the dark arts dude with Valdemont in the back of his head.
Which he's not a very good defense against the dark arts teacher if he's got the dark arts master in the back of his head.
That would make his job more difficult, I think. But when he shows up, he immediately explains the plan very much in the classical supervillain style. He's got a monologue. And I mentioned before how things come easily to Harry, and it must be said that if not for Hermione, whose name... Whatever the fuck, these stupid British names. Emma Watson. If not for that...
Emma Watson.
If not for that character, and Dumbledore, and even Ron's previously unmentioned mastery of chess, Harry would have been dead 17 different times.
Right.
The only reason he makes it to the end of the movie is because of this random plot pool of, the power of love makes Voldemort's skin burst into flames. This is a movie that ends with the 11-year-old hero burning an adult man to death.
What?
Yeah, the first movie, it's okay, but it's probably my least favorite of the series.
For Harry Potter and his friends, another year begins. Their education in the magical arts continues, and something in the school's dark past will be awakened.
The Chamber of Secrets has indeed been opened.
Harry Potter must go home.
This year, Warner Brothers Pictures present the next chapter of Harry Potter, where the past will return, and the struggle for the future of Hogwarts will begin.
The second one is a big step up from the first, though I may be partial to the giant-ass snake.
You know the problem that I have with the second one?
Yeah, Chamber of Secrets from 2002.
Is that it's basically the same movie as the first one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it does not stray far from the formula at all.
The only difference is, giant snake!
It opens again with Harry quarreling with the Dursleys. For the second time, somebody comes to rescue Harry. This time it's Ron in a flying car. Both movies conclude in a secret chamber underneath of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And in both movies, some incarnation reincarnation of Voldemort is responsible for all the things that happen. The plot is very, very similar.
To the movie's credit, that may have been J.K. Rowling's fault.
Yeah, blame her.
I know that the first movie follows the first book page for page.
From what I remember, the first 2 films are very faithful. Keep in mind, I have not read the books in 16 years or whatever. The only thing I can really remember being cut, there was this character in the books, mischievous poltergeist, that was completely cut out of the movies. And I don't even remember his name. That's how unimportant he was. I'm sure any diehard Harry Potter fans are screaming at us right now. We get to meet Ron's family in this one.
Yeah.
We get to meet the
Weasleys.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Weasleys. Bunch of gingers.
I like Mama Weasley.
I like what ends up happening with that character. We meet his brothers, who are these twins that are all mischievous.
Fred and George.
His little sister Ginny becomes
important.
Well,
there's
an older brother.
Yeah, Percy?
I don't fucking remember. This movie brings in a very important character. It brings in Dobby.
Dobby, motherfucker! It's Dobby! Why can you not say that right? It's fucking Dobby! It's D-O-B-B-I-E. It's motherfucking Dobby! Basic phonics mechanics, you stupid dumb shit!
The house elf.
Just say it once, please.
And
just say Dobby.
What's interesting
about
that...
We'll move on with the podcast. We just say Dobby.
Dobby,
mother... Fucker!
What's interesting to me about that is it introduces this idea of a persecuted underclass in the wizarding world. Basically slaves.
Yeah.
And everybody's okay with that?
Yeah, wouldn't you be?
They can't even have clothing. There's magical racism, too. We find out why all Slytherins are such shitheads. Because their house was founded by a racial supremacist. Because they have this big hate-on for mudbloods, which are part magical person, part regular human person. Which implies that a proficiency for magic is genetic, I guess?
Probably.
None of these questions ever crossed your mind.
Well, no, because it's a different world. I don't know.
But it's not. It's our world.
No, it's not. It's a wizarding world.
It's parallel to our world.
Well, we don't know that world exists.
This one does have way cooler monsters in it.
Yeah.
I mean, even before getting to the basilisks, those mandrake plants are pretty cool.
Yeah.
The movie does leave out the distinctly non-PG origin of the mandrake. They don't go into that.
Oh, what's that?
Mandrake is created from the semen of a hanged man.
Oh, yeah.
There's Dumbledore's Phoenix, who is named Fawkes, which is a pun that British people will love. There is less CGI in this one.
More practical.
Maybe they had more money, or maybe they realized they'd used CGI too much on the first one. And I love all the stuff with the giant spider, Aragog, Hagrid's pet spider.
Aragog.
All that shit's really cool. That whole sequence in the woods where they're getting attacked by the spiders. Enjoyed that. Yeah, obviously the big-ass fucking snake is pretty baller.
Big-ass fucking snake?
Big-ass fucking snake.
Now, is that a snake that fucks big asses? Is that just a really big snake?
I think a big-ass fucking snake would be a snake that fucks big asses.
I mean, obviously.
His snake is booty fever.
And they don't need cowbells in the wizarding world, so he's just gonna keep on fucking.
Big booties beware! Oh, what do you think of that, the basilisk?
I like the basilisk.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very crucial to later parts of the series.
A lot of these little things become more important later, which I don't think she planned. I think she made that shit up as she went along.
Right.
This one still has a MacGuffin in it. The first one had the whole MacGuffin of the Sorcerer's Stone. Or the Philosopher's Stone, if you're on the other side of the Atlantic, because I'm a British vampire. And this one, it's Tom Riddle's journal. I like that scene where Harry goes inside of the journal and is experiencing Tom Riddle's memories.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a cool moment. Though I gotta tell you, some of the stuff at the end of that movie, Dumbledore sends his Phoenix down there to help Harry out when he's fighting the big-ass fucking
Does the
snake.
Phoenix rise?
Phoenix does indeed rise. Turns out Phoenix tears can heal wounds. Did you know that? Yeah, that information seemed superfluous at the time. A fucking magical sword literally falls out of the hat. And that is what we in the profession would call a deus ex machina.
The magic thing that kills a thing in one hit.
The magic thing that falls out of the hero's ass and saves his butt.
Yeah, the deus ex machina.
Which
the big ass, because the basilisk might want to fuck it.
This is Richard Harris's last movie.
What?
Yeah, he did. What do we think of Kenneth Branagh as Professor Lockhart?
I like him.
Yeah, he's funny.
First, he was just an obnoxious character. The more I've watched the films over the years, the more I've kind of funny.
His whole point is to be obnoxious.
Pexy, Pisky, Pescanovi! That didn't work. I'll let you handle it.
Hogwarts vetting process for Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers needs some fucking work.
Who is that? That man?
He's a murderer. Sirius Black has escaped from Azkaban prison.
Sirius Black is the reason the Potters are dead.
And now he wants to finish what he started.
I want you to swear to me you won't go looking for Black.
Why would I go looking for someone who wants to kill me?
There's something moving out there.
It was a Dementor, one of the guards of Azkaban, searching the train for Sirius Black.
It is not in the nature of a Dementor to be forgiving.
2004, we got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Alright, I have a very important message to say about this movie.
What's that?
At the time, I wasn't even 18 yet, so it's okay for me to say this.
I know where this is going.
This is the first movie that I noticed that Emma Watson was Emma Hodson.
The next movie, it becomes very apparent that Emma Watson is obviously a very attractive young woman.
She tames that fucking hair, and that made the difference. I'm sorry.
They were probably about the same age as we were at the time. Wasn't creepy then. She gets more stuff to do in this movie because she punches Malfoy in the face, which was way fucking overdue.
Right.
Everybody knew a kid like that. Stuck up little smug bastard that was a bully but also a kiss ass. So it's satisfying to see him get socked one in the face.
Buckbeak is in this.
Oh, Buckbeak is great. He's one of my favorite things about this movie.
Yeah, I really like Buckbeak.
Yeah.
I like Hagrid as a teacher, too. About time. Of course, though, I didn't read the books. I didn't know his ass was going to get immediately fired.
Hagrid is woefully unqualified to be a teacher. No precautions around these extremely dangerous animals.
But to be fair, he's trying to teach them the right way to approach the animals, and the Malfoy's got to be a dick.
In the first movie, he has a pet dragon, right? Norbert, right? Is that the name of it? Hagrid's short-lived tenure as teacher may have been justified. This one has a different director. Chris Columbus directed the first two, of Home Alone and Mrs. Doubtfire fame.
Right.
And this one was made by Alfonso Cuarón. Would go on to make Children of Men and Gravity, but at the time was best known for a Spanish film called You Two Mama Tambien, which was this teenage boys goes on sex and drugs adventure.
Huh. Which is probably why the kid seems so much more grown up in this.
I did not catch on to this last time I watched it, but this movie does open with Harry in his room at night with the sheet over his head playing with his wand.
Yeah.
And apparently that was an intended double entendre. This is the one where the characters are starting to grow up some more, as you've already apparently noticed. Harry is a little more angry in this one.
You know what we forgot to talk about in the last one?
Something huge.
Yeah, the fucking wand duel. That's where we get introduced to battle magic or whatever you want to call it.
Battle magic. Yeah, stupefy and shit.
Yeah, that's the basis of every movie after that.
Guess I forgot to write that down.
Just wrote a song about it, okay?
This is easily the darkest of the films up to this point. Plot of this one has a dangerous criminal escaping prison and pursuing Harry, presumably with the intention of killing him.
I really like Sirius Black, too.
I always feel like that character is in more of the series than he actually is. He's only in 2 of the movies.
Yeah.
He is free in the 4th one, but we don't really see him very much. This one also has the Dementors. I've always thought they basically look like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And apparently J.K. Rowling wrote them as symbolic of her depression.
Maybe there's a double entendre there, too.
Alfonso Cuarón was maybe the first director to really have fun with some of the crazy magical stuff in this universe. You have the whole scene with the double-decker bus bending around the cars. Something else that I don't think was in the book at all. This one building has this giant pendulum that swings back and forth for no reason.
Yeah.
But that's cool. There's more stuff with the ghosts and the living paintings. A nice element I like is how the Whomping Willow, we always see that change with the seasons. A way to mark the passing of time. That was very clever. Because this movie is about the past connecting with the present. Harry's past is rather literally coming back to him with Sirius, who was blamed for assisting in the murder of his parents. And all that stuff is more interesting to me.
Right.
Mentioned some of the other cool monsters in this. Buckbeak's cool. The Dementors are interesting. There's a Bogart in this one.
Yeah.
They call it the Grimp, but I've always referred to it as Black Chuck, which is the big demonic black dog, which is a reoccurring motif in Angolese legend.
Oh, that's the thing that Sirius Black trains.
Yeah, that's what he morphs into, because he's an animorph. There's even a fucking werewolf in this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like your typical werewolf. It kind of looks like a big emaciated dog.
Yeah.
I dig that shit. Now we have a new Dumbledore. We have Michael Gambon.
I like him. I think I like him a little better than I like Richard Cox or whatever that guy's name.
Richard Harris, yes. Gary Oldman was in this franchise because he must be in all. I really like Timothy Spall as Peter Pettigrew because that dude looks like a fucking rat.
Yeah.
And Emma Thompson has a notable role as Professor Trelawney.
Yeah.
Person who predicts the future. Weird, though, that even in the Harry Potter universe, that is considered bullshit.
That's probably the joke.
What do you think of that whole reveal with the time travel in the last act? Because some people have problems with that.
Why?
This whole time travel MacGuffin. Well, how come they just didn't use that to go back in time and kill Voldemort when he was a baby? How are any of the plots not immediately resolved with this time travel thing?
Because it can't go that far. It's not that powerful.
I like that last act, though. We're seeing shit from other angles, and we see that Buckbeak was rescued, he was spared, all that stuff is pretty... At this point in the series, every movie is consecutively better than the one before it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially... Oh, really?
5.
We haven't gotten there yet.
I'd like to make an announcement. Hogwarts Castle will not only be your home this year, but home to some very special guests as well.
You're fraternizing with the enemy.
The enemy?
Hogwarts has been chosen to host a legendary event, the Triwizard Tournament. Now, the champion selection, Harry Potter!
How did you do it? I didn't put my name in that cup. I don't want eternal glory.
People die in this tournament. The Dark Lord shall rise again.
The fourth one, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire from 2005, is probably my favorite of the entire series.
I like it, it's just not my favorite.
That's your opinion, man.
Yeah, and my opinions are the only ones that matter on this podcast.
I would disagree with that.
Again, that's your opinion, and since it's not my opinion, it doesn't matter.
I do have a bit of fondness for the tournament story arc idea anyway.
Pretty cool, and I like Victor Crumb.
Like the international angle it brings, this idea that there are other wizarding schools all over the world.
No American representation.
J.K. Rowling's races against Americans. That's the easy answer.
Americans aren't a race.
There are 3 major challenges to the Triwizard Tournament, and that provides a nice, easy plot structure. It's a natural way to get the dramatic stakes higher and higher because each new challenge is more difficult than the one before it. Making Harry this unwilling entry into the tournament, it makes him a very conflicted hero. I prefer Harry when he's unhappy and pissed off. This is the movie most about growing up in the series, because Harry and Ron are not talking to each other for a stretch of the film.
I'm not an owl!
Yeah, I don't even remember what they were arguing about. It was something stupid. Ron realizes that he's attracted to Hermione. What? I don't fucking know how to say these stupid British names.
Hermione, but you say it fast. Hermione.
By the end of this movie, the character's innocence are gone. Harry has witnessed somebody dying right in front of him.
That sucks.
A guy named Michael Noel directed this one, and he's the same guy who made 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Donnie Brasco, which does not immediately make you think he'd be great for Harry Potter. His visual palette is a little gloomier. There's a lot more English fog in this movie.
Really, it needed more of.
The stories are getting darker, so it's appropriate. And this one opens with the Death Eaters, who are the Voldemort cultists attacking the Quidditch Cup or some such thing.
Which is an awesome scene.
Awesome's kind of strong, but okay.
I like it.
You know what I like about this movie? The goddamn dragons.
The dragons are cool.
The whole sequence with the Hungarian horntail it's baller, yo.
You asked for fucking dragons and you got fucking dragons.
In your face, hot, unedited dragon action.
Enough said.
These are some big ass fucking dragons.
To clarify, are these dragons that are just really big, or are these dragons that fuck big asses?
These dragons are just big.
Oh, so they don't fuck big asses?
Actually, they prefer petite asses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I love the whole stuff with the dragon with the fire, and they're chasing it through the fog, and oh my god, and hey. I really feel like Harry earns that victory. And the stuff with the mermaids is cool, too. Not the traditional...
Like Ariel.
Yeah, they're not the sexy mermaids.
They're cannibalistic mermaids.
Yeah, they're like Gilman.
Cannibal mermaids.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a movie title right there.
Cannibal Mermaids. Yeah, that is a good title, huh? This one really emphasizes Harry's vulnerability. This is the first time where he seems to be anything but universally popular and beloved. People in Hogwarts are starting to turn on Harry a little bit. Why does he think he's so special, even though he's literally the special one? Hey, this is the first time we see Voldemort in the flesh.
He's menacing.
Snake dude.
Big ass fucking snake dude.
Got a snake face.
He does have a snake face.
Yeah. What do you think of Ralph Fiennes?
Yes, he finds a lot of stuff. Wah, wah, wah.
This is the worst episode ever.
It is not.
He's good as Voldemort.
Before that...
Schindler's List was what he was well known before.
Yeah, but other than that, what?
English Patient?
Okay, there was Red Dragon.
He's played a lot of bad guys, this guy. Got a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher in this, Mad-Eye Moody, played by Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, I like Mad-Eye.
I like Mad-Eye Moody. Well, I like Brendan Gleeson in general. He plays the character as just slightly unhinged. At the end, we find out that it's not really him, it's David Tennant for some reason. I don't remember now why. Voldemort groupie or some shit. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, he's a Death Eater.
I feel like it has the cleanest structure and has the most cool stuff in it.
I like Moaning Myrtle in this. The character really hits her stride in this movie.
Is it this one where she's hitting on Harry?
This is the one.
It's kind of weird.
Trying to peek under the bubbles and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Well, that's what I like about her.
Oh, you like that it's weird?
Yeah.
15-year-old
well, you like big-ass fucking snakes, alright?
Those snakes like big butts and they cannot lie.
The other brothers can't deny.
Gives new meaning to my Anaconda Don't Want None unless you got buns, hon. Some people dislike Goblet of Fire because apparently it takes the most liberties with the source material. 800-page book that they have to turn into a 2-hour-long movie. Though actually the movie's like 2.5 hours long.
Well, see, I've always heard The Prisoner of Azkaban was the one that took the most liberties.
I don't remember.
There's a storm coming, Harry.
Things at Hogwarts are far worse than I feared.
We've got to be able to defend ourselves. And if Umbridge refuses to teach us how, we need someone who will.
Every great wizard in history has started out as nothing more than what we are now. If they can do it, why not us? If Voldemort's building up an army, then I want to fight.
2007, we got another one of these fucking things. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Phoenix is a weird word. It's pronounced phonix.
Phoenix.
Anyhow,
this movie I have contentions with.
Oh.
The last half hour to an hour of this movie, maze of balls.
Are they?
They are.
The end is cool, but you don't really care about any of the other shit.
Right. Slow, monotonous bullshit. Setting up a lot of what's going to come later in the series.
I kind of of have that problem with the 5th and 6th movie.
Now, see, the 6th movie I like. I feel like the pacing is better.
We have one director making the rest of these movies, a guy named David Yates, who'd mostly worked in television before. And these last 4 movies tend to blend together in my mind. They don't stand out as much as the first 4. And the story is definitely becoming more serialized at this point.
Yeah.
The latter half of the franchise, I don't care for as much. That wizard duel at the end is maybe the most memorable thing about the movie.
It's probably the most memorable thing about the whole series.
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Oh, I'd go that far.
Voldemort conjuring up a giant flaming snake.
Dumbledore turning glass into sand.
Yeah.
Water bubbles and...
Dumbledore's flying through the air and shit. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's the first time we've really seen a real wizard duel.
Yeah. Between 2 masters of the craft.
Yeah, and it's really cool. But this one is about teenage rebellion. Tyrannical forces have come to Hogwarts. To the viewer, it is obvious this new faction is affiliated with Voldemort. I mean, it's really fucking obvious. For some reason, only Harry and his friends really notice. So he starts organizing these secret classes to teach everybody combative magic.
You mean battle magic?
Sure. It's an interesting decision to correlate traditional teenage acts of rebellion against authority with a literal underground rebellion.
Right.
Sure. This movie does have maybe the best villain in the entire series as far as hateability goes.
Oh, Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah.
You just want to hit that bitch.
The most hateful fucking bitch in fiction. She's this little old lady and she dresses in pink and she loves kitty cats, but she's just a complete fascist. And she literally believes in torturing teenagers. And of course she gets raped by a bunch of centaurs.
So what happens in the book?
It's in the subtext. You see her get dragged off by centaurs, and the next time you see her she is stunned and dazed and confused. You're familiar with Greek mythology, so you know what centaurs were famous for. There's a rape joke in your kids' movie. Harry's connection with Voldemort forms a serious portion of the plot. We have the villain rather literally crawling into his mind in this one, drawing attention to how similar they are. They both.
Yeah, and then Snape teaches Harry occlumency.
Yeah, that thing where he can get into his memories.
Yeah, occlumency.
We get to see a little bit of Snape's memory in this one, and that gives us some background on his character. How Harry's father, when he was a teenager,
was a dick.
It's an interesting decision for Harry because he idolizes his parents since they died when he was an infant. My dad was a bully, and that's why Snape is so resentful towards Harry. What do you think of the romantic aspects in this one where Harry is getting closer to Cho, the one Asian girl at Hogwarts?
Kind of hoping that they'd hit it off. Harry and Ginny are, I guess, a good couple.
To me, that's such a random pairing. Up until we get to the 6th movie, I really didn't sense any romantic chemistry between Harry and Ginny. I mean, would you bang your best friend's little sister?
Well, you don't have a little sister, so I guess we don't have to worry about it.
Gary Oldman comes back for this one. You know, he's not in the other ones.
Yeah, because he dies.
And I know at the time there was quite a bit of hubbub over Sirius dying, and a lot of people assumed that they would maybe try and bring him back somehow, because he gets death-bolted and then floats into this floaty cave of spirits or some shit. It does seem like they could have brought him back somehow, maybe, but they never did. No, he is dead.
Dead.
Jason Isaac plays Lucius Malfoy, and he graduates from douchebag to full-blown villain here. And
actually, he does that in 4.
I guess we do find out in 4 that he's a Death Eater, don't we?
Yeah.
The most obvious reveal in the whole series.
Oh. No. What you should have done is put fucking Lucius Malfoy in the Order of the Phoenix. Then it would have been,
yeah, well,
he's a good guy?
Yeah, that would have been surprising. Helena Bonham Carter makes her debut in the series.
Oh, God, there's ever a bitch in the history of fiction that needed to be shriveled up and blasted into a million pieces.
What do you think of Helena Bonham Carter as an actress in general?
She's a great actress. Well, I wouldn't say great, but she has her moments.
She's a good actress. Though in this series, I think she just mugs for the camera as Bellatrix Lestrange.
I don't know, she doesn't...
Which is the most ridiculous goth name in history.
I like her. She's a great villainess.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay. Have Luna Lovegood being introduced in this, and I like that character. She's interesting. She's crazy.
Yeah.
I have to say this is probably one of my least favorite ones in the series. I don't rank this one very highly.
Okay, but it does have one really cool scene.
Aside from the wizard's duel, you mean?
Yeah.
What's that?
When the council comes in and like, we're going to take you, Dumbledore. He's like, that's what you think, bitches. And I'm going to clap my hands and the Phoenix is going to make me disappear. That's the first time that you realize Dumbledore's a fucking badass.
I also like that Neville gains a level of competence in this movie.
Yeah.
Previously, before this one, he was just like biggest fucking loser in Hogwarts. Guess I just relate to that character.
You are, of course, wondering why I brought you here tonight.
Actually, sir, after all these years, I just sort of go with it.
What you see before you, it's a curious little potion. It does cause powerful infatuation or obsession. This year, the past holds a dark secret, and only he...
You're the chosen one, Harry.
...can unlock the truth.
Hey, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
So now we're moving into the penultimate book, not the penultimate movie. 2009, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And one of my biggest issues with this one is that thing with the Half-Blood Prince.
It has nothing to do with the rest of the story.
It's very, very minor. This is not the main MacGuffin for the film. At the end of the movie, Snape says, I'm the Half-Blooded Prince. Who gives a shit? So Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, there should be an ET on the end of that. This one's about secrets and the cost of keeping them, JD. Did you know that?
Yep, sure did.
It begins with Snape entrusting Malfoy with some secret order. And then later in the film, Dumbledore gives Harry a secret responsibility. And both mentors, we'd later discover, have secrets of their own. Yeah.
Well, whatever, let's get to the cool shit. Like the fucking fire tornado.
I don't remember that.
The storm of fire that... You don't remember that?
I don't even remember.
Dumbledore conjures up in the cave.
Oh, yeah. Where
and like all the mutant things are going after Harry, like clawing at him.
Yeah, what the fuck was up that whole sequence? Why does Dumbledore have to drink this evil black water?
To get to the Horcrux.
Didn't they reach it and grab it?
Because it was cursed.
But why did he have to drink
it? Because he had to drink it to prove that he was worthy enough to get the Horcrux.
Why didn't they just scoop it out and throw it in the water?
I don't know!
At this point in the series, there's increasingly more stuff like that just makes me go, huh, what does that mean? I feel like at this point, they were doing stuff that's explained in the books, but they left out the explanation. What I really noticed when I was watching this movie in November, Harry Potter's really horny in this one.
Okay.
Like, the movie begins with him hitting on this waitress in a diner. She's into it, too. Dumbledore shows up and cockblocks the poor kid.
Well, he's old.
He's about to get his wand wet, and Dumbledore's like, nothing, got a mission. Damn it.
But I was about to expel this, Armus.
And this is the one where suddenly Harry and Ginny are an item. I didn't get any vibes between Harry and Ginny before this movie. Subplot about Ron is sniffing around this other girl just to make Hermione jealous.
Hermione.
Tomato.
But when you say Hermione, I'm thinking of her trying to get out of an invisible box.
In turn, she goes to the school dance with some fucking jock. A lot of people dislike the romantic stuff in this movie. What do you think?
Well, I think it's kind of needed.
Yeah, it had some levity, you know?
Yeah, like, didn't have that stuff in it. I think the movie would have been so depressing that every teenager that went and seen that movie would have gone out and instantly committed suicide.
I don't think that would have happened. There isn't very much in way of big action special effects sequences in this one.
Right, other than the Dumbledore scene.
There's that moment at the beginning where a bunch of Death Eaters blow up a bridge in England. London's in England.
Yeah.
In the Muggle world, how the fuck did they explain that? Oh, some terrorists just blew up a bridge today.
Well, they were invisible. Bridge just blew up.
They were invisible?
Yeah, they turned invisible.
Did people die?
Well, I guess.
Then who got the blame? Did the UK go to war with Afghanistan because of this?
Sure.
I guess I'm just not supposed to think about it that hard. Some evil wizards attack the Weasley shanty house. There's a chase in a cornfield. But yeah, this is slow on the action.
Yeah.
My big problem with this one is it really does feel like a long prologue to the last two movies. This is all about setting up the Horcruxes with some magical plot device that will allow Harry to defeat Voldemort at the end of the story. And
I'm talking about secrets and shit.
When this book came out, it happened again when the movie came out, there was one thing that everybody was buzzing about. I don't know if you remember what the internet was like when the sixth book came out, and everybody on the internet was like, hey guys, Dumbledore dies. You don't remember how everybody lost their fucking shit over that?
No.
Everybody was afraid of spoilers. In fact, there were even fake spoilers going around like, oh, Hagrid dies. Oh, Hermione dies.
Oh, I saw one where Harry died.
Well, that would have been fucking stupid. Had to kill off our main character with one book left. The next one will just have a blank and the Deathly Hallows.
And the Deathly Hallows.
But no, Dumbledore dies. Now, do you care about that?
Little. Not butthurt over it or anything. Does suck that he had to die.
And that's another thing. If there was a magical spell that you could just say a word and point a wand at somebody and they drop dead, people would be using it all the time. And in the Harry Potter...
forbidden curse.
Yeah, it's forbidden. In the real world, what, you mean I've got a gun I don't even need to buy bullets for? All I need is a stick and a word? I would be stuck in traffic. People would just be falling dead around me.
Wait, you mean there's a completely untraceable way of killing somebody?
It's not realistic. Everything else in these movies is realistic, but that's not. Maybe it's just because I've never been that invested in Dumbledore as a character. Like, if they had killed Hagrid or one of the main three, I would have felt something. The death of Dumbledore did not make me cry myself into a slumber.
You cry. Let it loose, man.
Feels like there's a whole 2-hour movie leading up to that death scene. This one introduces a new character, Jim Broadbent, as Horace Slughorn, which is easily the dumbest name of all the characters in the Harry Potter universe.
That's fair. But he's like the MacGuffin in this, isn't he?
His memories are important to finding out something.
Horcruxes.
Yeah, Horcrux.
Oh my.
And I think it's weird that Voldemort is constantly talked about in this movie, but he never shows up. There's stuff I like in Half-Blood Prince, but it's probably my second least favorite after Sorcerer's Stone.
It's not my number one pick, I'll give you that.
Harry Potter, I have seen your heart, and it is mine.
These are dark times, there is no denying. Our world has faced no greater threat than it does today.
The finale of the worldwide phenomenon.
You can't fight this war on your own. He's too strong.
Really, you think what? Begins.
Quickly!
You really don't stand a chance.
We can end this.
The next movie faced a serious problem. J.K. Rowling's books are way too goddamn long. They had talked about splitting some of the books in half before. They talked about maybe doing Goblet of Fire as 2 movies. That was before the screenwriters just manned up and said, we gotta start cutting shit. Ostensibly, this movie was split in 2 to give the material proper breathing room. The cynical part of me says Warner Brothers just wanted to squeeze one more movie and thus maximum profits out of their beloved cash cow here.
Really? Was there a whole lot that they couldn't have cut out of the first movie? Doesn't even really
begin until about 2 hours in.
Yeah.
It gets less egregious than, say, something like Twilight or Hunger Games. Not that I've read those books either. It did start this annoying trend where we gotta split the last book into 2 movies. Maybe it was justified a little more in this one. I don't know if both of these movies needed to be 2 hours long. You would think with the last book in her multi-billion-dollar franchise, J.K. Rowling would feel the need to shake it up a little, and she does shake it up a little bit. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are on the run. Not really that stuff where they go to Hogwarts and get in an adventure, but it still includes some of that annoying young adult quirks that I dislike. Newly introduced character, hey, guess what? He's a traitor.
Which character?
You know, the dude who says the thing about the thing. He sells them out to the bad guys.
Oh, that guy. The guy that looks like Jamie Kennedy but is not Jamie Kennedy.
He looks like Jamie Kennedy, okay. Once again, a magical sword pops up out of nowhere to help resolve the plot. And the thing that really bugs me, and this is the reason why I can't watch the Saw movies, Dumbledore's plan extends beyond the grave. Even though he's dead, he has planned everything so well that everything still goes according to plan.
And this is coming up on the microphone. And you're going to have to edit the shit out of this.
Does any of that shit bother you at all?
No. Well, what bothers me is there's a lot of filler in this movie. There's not that much important shit in that first movie. The whole thing where they're constantly in a tent, dancing and all that stuff.
I actually do like the dancing.
I mean, that's fair. And I understand that it's set up how this world is affecting them, but at the same time, oh my god, just get on with it.
There is a lot of stuff of the 3 of them just hanging out in the... Ron has the Horcrux, one of the Horcruxes around his neck, and it makes him not evil, just kind of bitter and vindictive.
Bitchy.
Yeah, bitchy. Just take off the evil talisman. Gee, I guess it wasn't a good idea to wear the evil talisman around my neck. Shucks. I don't know if you noticed, JD, but Voldemort persecutes mudbloods in a way that is meant to represent anti-Semitism.
No.
You didn't catch on that he's basically Wizard Hitler?
Not that.
They sneak into an established power system. They distribute propaganda, spreading their racist agenda. They push hate and intolerance and violence under the guise of protection and freedom. And, you know, none of this has any significance on what's happening in America right now or anything like that. You know what this one's about? This movie is...
Friendship will last forever.
It's about how difficult it is to trust somebody during a war. Or Ron and Harry's friendship is tested for the uptenth time. Throughout this whole movie, Harry is questioning how much should he trust Dumbledore's grand design for them. What do you think of the action shit?
The action stuff is pretty good. The spells feel heavy. They feel like they actually have an impact.
Hagrid's in the flying motorcycle and evil wizards are shooting electricity. That's cool. Though the owl dies. Hedwig.
I know, Hedwig dies.
They always
kill the dog.
I like that whole scene where they sneak into the Ministry of Magic and the Dementors chase them out. That shit's pretty cool.
Yeah, Dolores Umbridge gets hers again.
Who else dies in this one? Not just Hedwig. Another character dies. Toby. Ow! Fuck!
It's Dobby!
Yes, the house elf dies. He sacrifices himself. And you know what? It affected me more than Dumbledore dying, I gotta tell you. And you know who voiced that character?
Who?
Toby Jones from Captain America.
What, Captain America?
He's Armine Zola.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. At times, I almost feel like David Yates was trying to make a horror movie with this one. The old man turns into a big-ass snake. Not a big-ass fucking snake, just a big-ass snake.
Oh, okay.
And the whole climax involves that cloud of black smoke.
Yeah.
Ron sees Harry and Hermione doing it in the black cloud of doom.
Which I'm sure in the book was way more vivid.
I don't know, and I haven't read it, probably. The backstory of the Deathly Hallows. Personally, I don't give a shit about the Deathly Hallows. Oh, that's what this series needed. 3 more magical plot devices. But I do like how it's presented. Almost a cutout shadow cartoon kind of thing. I can dig it.
I would actually watch a whole movie about the Deathly Hallows. That seems interesting to me, and they could have made a whole movie out of that.
About the 3 brothers?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It'd be like a swashbuckling movie, but with wizards.
That would be cool. And what are the Deathly Hallows again?
It's the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone,
and then the Invisibility
Cloak of Invisibility. If it were me, damn, here's the Resurrection Stone. Why did I throw that away? Should have held on to that. Oh shit, now I got the Elder Wand that has Cloak of Invisibility, so I'm the Master of Death, bitches.
Wait, what can the Elder Wand do?
The Elder Wand is an uber powerful wand.
It's just a +1 wand.
Yeah. The Resurrection Stone can resurrect loved ones.
The Invisibility Cloak's the most useful one.
Well, that's the idea.
If there are any Harry Potter fans listening to the show, and I'm sure if they are, they hate me now.
No, they hated you before, now they despise you.
Teenage boy in a school full of females his own age with a cloak of invisibility. I'm just saying, he's using it to see boobies, right?
That's a gift.
Is there some magical force field around the girls' bathrooms or something?
Well, I'm sure Dumbledore's thought of it.
He's gonna try, at the very least.
He's after you, Mr. Potter.
Well, I suppose I'll have to kill him before he finds me then.
If you have not given yourself up, then I shall punish every last man, woman, and child that tries to conceal you from me.
I know who he is. I know what he's done.
I can destroy him once and for all.
He will come to me. Only I can live forever.
Let's finish this the way we started.
Together!
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
And then they did a part 2 the next year.
Which is probably my favorite.
Not my favorite. I don't know about you.
It's my favorite. I just like all the action in it.
In the bank with the dragon.
Yeah, that's cool.
Warwick Davis comes back in a big way.
Yeah, Mama Weasley.
That's fine where she says, "Get away from my daughter, you bitch."
But she goes, "Not my daughter, you bitch."
Oh, whatever, something like that.
She vaporizes her.
She turns her into glass and shatters her in the movie or something, right?
She turns into bubbles and poops away.
Well, you know, splitting the movie in two, the way they did, it does put most of the Hogwarts stuff in the second half, which is a neat idea because now we're seeing all these familiar faces for the last time.
McGonagall. I've always wanted to say that spell.
Yeah, Professor McGonagall gets a big moment to herself.
And she kicks some ass, too. Who knew she had that?
Neville Longbottom gets a big moment. Even Cho Ming shows up.
Yeah.
Do you have some issues with this? They're odd decision. At some point, Harry needs the help of a ghost to retrieve a Horcrux. And you would assume this would be an opportunity to bring back some of the ghosts you saw in the earlier movies, like Nearly Headless Nick, some of the other characters. But instead, they introduce this ghost that we've never met before.
Actually, I think she was in the first one.
They mentioned...
Well, it wasn't the same actress, but I think she was in the first one.
I don't know if they've mentioned the Grey Lady a few times. We've never met her before.
I'm pretty sure in the first year when they're in the dining hall.
Later, the Central Trio have to sneak back into Hogwarts, and they meet Dumbledore's brother, who was in one of the earlier movies, though played by a different actor.
Now that I didn't know.
These two characters, who are basically new characters, show up and dump a whole bunch of exposition on us. There must have been a more elegant way to do that. This installment really explores the root of Voldemort's motivation. His whole goal in life is to avoid death. And this is contrasted with the way Harry's parents sacrificed themselves to save Harry, and the way Dumbledore sacrificed himself. But there's one snag. I don't think it was intentional, and it bothers me a little bit. In the course of this movie, Harry Potter, like all sci-fi fantasy heroes, dies and then comes back to life. But they're trying to say that Harry's willingness to die to protect his friends is what separates him from Voldemort. But in practice, it makes the movie's moral seem more like nobody can escape death except for Harry Potter.
Harry maybe turned himself into a Horcrux, into a second Horcrux. Maybe he gave himself a Horcrux.
Yeah,
or maybe it's like a reverse Horcrux.
There's some bullshit there about it.
Maybe the books explain it more, Zach.
It's a bit of a cheat. I'm usually against death cheats, except for horror movie villains.
That's an art form in itself. God, they killed that fucker off again. How are we going to bring him back for the 8th time?
Yeah, I know. There's an electrical line on the bottom of the lake.
Ah, shit, they blew him up.
Wait, can we have a dog piss on his grave?
Can we have a black guy eat his heart?
Other people die in this movie, too.
George dies, or Fred.
Well, I was referring to Snape, the most significant death scene in the movie. Throughout this whole series, there's been this push and pull. Is Snape a Death Eater, or is he just a jerk?
He's a Death Eater, for sure.
But wait, no, he's a double agent. He was just pretending to be a jerk. He's been devoted to Harry's mother his entire life, which is either romantic or creepy.
But he also has the same Patronus charm as he does, which is weird.
Creepily romantic. There is a lot of action shit in this movie. Stuff with the stone soldiers is cool.
Yeah, that shit's awesome.
The spiders come back.
Yeah, spiders come back.
Trolls come back.
Trolls come back.
Half the castle blows the fuck up.
Yeah. Simple scene. After all the fighting is done, you see the janitor sweeping things into a pile.
Yeah, it's cute.
That's a question. Why do they need a janitor? In 6, we know that there's a fucking spell that fixes shit. That's canon.
There are a lot of little nitpicks like that stick in my brain and bother me.
That one bothered me. Congratulations. You've rubbed off on me over the years.
What do you think of that final fight between Harry and Voldemort?
Anticlimactic.
I think it's kind of cool. There's some shit in there that I do like.
I like all the stuff where they're running through the castle and he's using his robe tentacles to choke Harry and shit.
I like that Harry calls him Tom. Yeah, you're not Lord Voldemort, you're Tom. It's a little psychological warfare. I have to admit, it does make the Dark Lord's credentials seem a little unimpressive when he's defeated by a teenager.
It was the chosen teenager.
The story basically ends there. There is that final scene, that incredibly controversial epilogue. I personally don't really give a shit, but there are some people out there deeply invested in what we call shipping. Oh, these two fictional characters destined to be together, and that's the hill I'm gonna die on, goddammit. I don't really give a shit who Harry's forking, but some people are really into that.
I don't think it matters.
J.K. Rowling wrote that final scene just to poke at the shippers. No, Harry and Ginny get married and have kids, and Ron and Hermione get married and have kids. I don't think we needed that epilogue that says, oh, the adventure continues. I honestly would have liked to have seen the characters get on with their lives. I don't need a teaser for Harry Potter: The Next Generation.
Yeah, which is apparently what we call it, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Yeah, well, it's basically what the play is, from what I've read. Personally, if I was Harry, I would not send my kid to the same school where I almost died about 60 different times.
Who's the headmaster of Hogwarts now? McGonagall?
I don't know. I know I've been giving these movies a lot of shit, but I do enjoy most of them.
You're not a fanboy, but you enjoy them.
I guess I'm just a little baffled by why this series.
They're Star Wars, too.
There are a lot of franchises where I just go, I don't get the hype. These films are fine.
Although I can honestly say I've never wanted to have babies with any franchise.
Those 8 movies, I enjoy most of them to a degree.
There's strange things going on all over the city. The people behind this are not like you and me. There's a hidden society. It goes back centuries.
Yesterday, a wizard entered New York with a case full of magical creatures. And unfortunately, some have escaped.
Magical beasts are terrorizing no-mages. When no-mages are afraid, they attack. Contain this, or it'll mean war.
Don't panic, but there's absolutely nothing to worry about.
After writing the original 7 books, J.K. Rowling said, no more Harry Potter ever. But then she wrote a couple other books and nobody gave a shit about them. Okay, maybe some more Harry Potter. She made a website called Pottermore where she premieres original bits of fiction. And she wrote an incredibly controversial play called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And then she also said, hey, we're going to have some more movies. We're going to have a prequel series, which now apparently is going to be 5 films.
God.
Which at the time sounded rather presumptuous, but this first one made a lot of money, so I guess we'll probably get most of those sequels. Of course, I'm referring to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is actually inspired by a book that Rowling wrote for, I believe it was for a charity of some sort. This was a textbook from the Harry Potter universe about all the different Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. The series is about the guy who wrote the book. Oh, and I should mention that David Yates, who made the last 4 Harry Potter movies, also made this movie. Did actually handle some of my grievances with the Harry Potter world, because this directly concerns how the wizarding world and the human world interact.
Yeah.
That was something that always bugged me. In this, you find like, oh, there's a secret wizard police that are like the Men in Black that go around and cover up all the magical bullshit that happens.
I'll take it.
There's this huge magical subculture in New York, and New York is a pretty crowded city. I don't know if you've noticed.
Well, not at that time it wasn't.
It's still pretty crowded. It would be hard for a subculture like that to hide in New York City, even with magical sohas and such. But at least JK is trying. One of the villains in this movie are the new Salemers, crazy Christian assholes who want to ban magic.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember, but Harry Potter was a frequent target of censorship by religious fundamentalists in this country when the books were at the peak of their popularity.
Yeah.
Everybody said, oh, they're leading our children to witchcraft. Oh, no!
Never mind, it's not real witchcraft. Nobody was cutting off a chicken's head and spinning it in the air, okay?
Yeah, no, it's not that cool.
I mean, it's not witchcraft, it's wizardry. There's a difference.
JK has lost none of her, let's say, idiosyncratic tendencies with names. One of the main villains in this film is the leader of this new Salemers movement.
Grindelwald or whatever.
No, I'm talking about Mary Lou Barebone. Barebone.
She bones bare.
She's not drawing any particularly insightful criticism of religious fundamentalism. I am more interested in Christians who want to burn the witches than this whole Grindelwald subplot, which apparently has some deeper significance to the Harry Potter lore.
Oh yeah, isn't he the guy that stole the Elder Wand originally or something?
Neither know nor give a shit. Really have no interest in the whole Grindelwald ongoing saga. He's another one of these evil wizards that are always whispered about. Didn't we just do this already? But I did like about this movie, all the fucking monsters, man.
Favorite was the little aardvark hedgehog-looking thing.
The Niffler.
The Niffler.
It looked like an echidna.
Yeah.
It goes around stealing gold.
Four-headed penis.
That's right.
It's a magical four-headed wand.
That's right. Echidnas do have four-headed penises. Newt's got a little stick creature in his pocket. There are a lot of cute animal sidekicks they can make toys of.
Which they didn't.
Oh, I'm sure those will be coming eventually. We talked about it a little bit on the Phantom Awards episode, the Uberfint, the giant horny rhino creature.
Yeah.
That he has to corral into the suitcase. I liked that. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Big Feather Serpent that would change size depending on the size of its location.
I forget what that was called.
Yeah, and they find it in the Macy's building.
Yeah.
All that
Which
stuff
is
was
cool. I like the old school locations and stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, how they set this movie in the real world. I liked all the monster stuff for the most part. Except JK has done this over and over again. Oh, hey, I'm going to mention casually that this whooping, flying reptile thing has a venom that can erase memory. And I bet it's going to be important later.
I bet.
Now, what do we think of Eddie Redmayne?
I like him.
You like Eddie Redmayne?
I like Eddie Redmayne.
I do not like Eddie Redmayne.
Why?
I saw all the Stephen Hawking movies he did and then the Danish Girl movie he did. I don't really like his style of acting. I think it's very showy, where he has to do a lot of little twitches and quirks, substitutes a lot of very shallow exterior, showy stuff for actual acting. That's just my opinion. He's got an Oscar. I don't, so what the fuck do I know about acting? But I'm just saying, I find Eddie Redmayne's style to be rather distracting.
Whatever. It doesn't twitch like Kristen Stewart. Honestly, Edward, I can't get a word out without twitching my head to one side or the other.
To be fair to K-Stu, nobody wanted to be in those movies. I do like most of the supporting cast. Dan Fogler as the Muggle baker who gets swept up in this adventure is pretty good.
Yeah, I do like him.
And when I looked it up and realized that's the dude from Balls of Fury, wow, hey, I thought it was Josh Gad at first. We're allowed to have more than one Hasidic fat guy in Hollywood movies? I didn't know that.
The blonde psychic chick was hot.
She was very attractive and rather charming. I liked that character. I liked the cop, too, the wizard cop.
Yeah.
Tina. She's the Tommy Lee Jones to Newt Will Smith.
Yeah.
She's the Murtaugh to his Riggs. There's no film we can't compare to Lethal Weapon on the show.
Maybe that's a podcast episode.
Movies that we aren't Lethal Weapon but are like Lethal Weapon?
No, that we cannot compare to Lethal Weapon.
We'll just have people send us a list of things and, Bridge on the River Kwai. Well, you see. And hey, Ron Perlman is in this movie too, and he plays a goblin. Go figure.
But he's a good goblin.
I was a little disappointed they used CGI instead of just burying Ron Perlman in a bunch of rubber and latex, because who doesn't love that, right?
Him.
I found the last act of the movie to be a lot less interesting when Ezra Miller's character, the son of the religious bitch, turns out he has some evil power inside of him that she unleashes, and he turns into a big swirly CGI destruction cloud.
Yeah.
And my issue with that is you have all these really cool monsters in this movie. You've got squid horses and giant leopards and a thunderbird, all this really cool imaginative shit. Why do you make the big monster that destroys the city at the end a fucking blurry CGI cloud?
Good question. Why wasn't it a thunderbird?
Why wasn't it a kaiju-sized dragon or some shit? Fantastic Beasts did leave a lot of dangling plot threads for a sequel. John Hoyt in the movie as William Hurst-style newspaper mogul, and his role in the film is small, but John Hoyt's a well-known actor. Apparently Zoe Kravitz is in it as Newt's referenced ex-girlfriend. That's presumably a plot point that will become important later. It's well known at this point, but a certain A-lister actor appears as the true form of the evil Grindelwald.
Would that be Donnie Jepp?
Yeah, Donnie Jepp. Instead of just killing the bad guy right then and there when they had the chance to, they take him into custody so he can come back and vex the hero further.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be 5 more movies.
However, I did like all the monster stuff. That was pretty cool. I liked the period setting. I liked most of the supporting cast. If they bring that stuff back for the sequel, I would probably give it a shot, because let's face it, what else are we going to do when it comes out anyway, right?
Right.
Though 5, really? 5?
At this point, buddy, we're invested.
Invested. I don't know if I like that word.
Would you cease going to see Marvel movies right now?
I don't know. It depends. I've enjoyed most everything Marvel's done, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Why?
But I don't like that I'm committed now mindset, because that's how you end up going to see Resident Evil 6 in the theater.
I haven't gone to see it yet.
That's how you end up seeing Transformers 5 in the theater.
I haven't gone to see that yet either.
If the next Fantastic Beasts movie blows ass, I will probably skip the others.
What if the next one kicks ass?
Well, then I guess I'll go see the third one.
Alright, well, what if that one blows?
It depends on what level of blowage we're talking here.
Okay, but if it blows, and the 5th one came out, at that point, wouldn't you be invested?
It depends on how hard it sucked.
Like, sucked to the equivalency of a bowling ball through a garden hose.
That's pretty strong suction. I would probably skip the 5th one if it sucked that hard.
Ah, God, why would you do that to me? All I'm saying, buddy, is if we go and see all 4 of the 5 of these movies, you decide that you're going to pop out the last time, I'm going to beat you on your way to the theater to see it, because we're fucking invested at that point in time, and I won't be able to get anybody else to go see it with me.
But do you really think they're going to make 5 of these fucking things?
Probably not, but that's not the point.
Guess when we're sitting here in 2030 and Fantastic Beasts 5 just came out, I guess we'll know.
Well, maybe I'll have a girl by then and I can take her to go see it.
Well, hope springs eternal.
Harry, you are a wizard.
Listen here, Hagrid, you fat oaf. I'm not a fucking wizard.
Throughout this episode, we have alienated a large portion of our listeners.
Hello, Governor.
If you have some wizarding thoughts you'd like to send to us and owls are not available, you may contact us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/thebangersandmashow. I'm on Twitter at LastMonsterKid. You can find me there. Hoping now we can get the episodes out more consistently. I know the schedule's been rather erratic here of late because our schedule is usually so regular.
Yeah.
Horror next time. I can guarantee you that. We just have to jump on our brooms and get the fuck out of here. Watch out for big-ass fucking snakes.
Damn right.
Dobie! Dobie, oh Dobie. Stop it. Now, you fucking bitch.
Well, that's how it feels every time you say Dobie.
This episode is over.